Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will get started in 3 minutes. So do what you got to do. We're going to get started in 3 minutes. Thank you for joining. So are you guys ready for the holidays?
Very,
Personally,
very much so.
professionally, for sure, but
Per,
personally.
personally, I think Matt's got the best story. Matt,
Oh
what
my
did you go first?
God. Oh yeah, absolutely ready for the holiday. Oh my God, the past 2.5 months has been really intense. But we are growing super fast as well. So that just kind of that's always a good thing for us. But and then Kash, if you and the team June are always on the road, like like it's like almost every week you're on the road, like somewhere like either on the East Coast or the West Coast or somewhere Midwest. You guys are always traveling. Yeah. But
Yeah, it'll be
it's been a tremendous year for us.
it has, yeah. It'll definitely be nice just to have some downtime for sure. Especially I think more around Christmas holiday. I think we still got some events and activities through this month,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely looking forward to just being at home. I'll probably go down to Portland, hang out with my family down there over the Christmas holiday.
Nice. Yeah, I kind of had to remind myself that we have one less week, right, between
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
that's
and
right.
Christmas. I was like, whoa, that's definitely, I'm gonna feel that one for sure. As a mom, frantically trying to get my life together.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally could appreciate that. Yeah.
Uh, I have been known to Christmas shop in airports. Yes.
Okay. You're not alone in that. I'm sure a lot of us fit in that bucket, so you're in good company.
Yeah, do what you gotta do sometimes.
Do what you gotta do is exactly right.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. We'll get started here in about 30 seconds. Now my daughter's gonna be 8, going on, I feel like 18. Like she's very savvy with online shopping. Imagine that, right? So when it comes to like, oh, what I'm getting for presents and stuff, and the Amazon truck showing up and everything else, I gotta be very, it's like a undercover work here. It's serious. Gotta hide everything.
Yeah, no, the Amazon deliveries definitely increased this time of the year. So it's like in my home, it's like a daily delivery at least minimum, if not multiple times a day. So
Yep. It's They're like a part of the family at this point.
that's right. That's well
Amazon.
said, actually.
I know, like I should probably get them a present and make some cookies or something.
The cookies, yeah, something like
Cookies and milk for the Amazon driver.
that.
Awesome. I think we're going to kick this off. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am Tiffany Service Gustafson, a digital strategist with BWG Connect, and we are a network and knowledge sharing group. We stay on top of the latest trends, challenges, whatever's shaping the digital landscape. We want to know and talk about it. We'll do at least 500 of these virtual events this year due to the increase in demand to better understand the digital space. And we'll also do at least 100 in-person small format dinners. So if you happen to live in a tier 1 city in the US, feel free to shoot us an email or check out our website, bwgstrategy.com. We'd love to send you an invite. These dinners are typically 15 to 20 people having a discussion around a certain digital topic, and it's always a great time. We spend the majority of our time talking to brands. That's how we stay on top of the latest trends. I'd love to have a conversation with you, so feel free to drop me a line at Tiffany, Tiffany, at bwgconnect.com, and we can get some time on the calendar. It's from these conversations we generate the topic ideas we know people want to learn about, and it's also where we gain our resident experts, such as Xmers, who's with us today. Anybody that we ask to teach the collective community has come highly recommended from multiple brands within the network. So if you're ever in need of any recommendations within the digital space, please don't hesitate to reach out. We have a short list of the best, and we would love to provide that information to you. A few housekeeping items before we get started. First and foremost, we want this to be fun, educational, conversational. Drop the questions, the comments into the chat or the Q&A as we move along, and we will get to them. You can always email me too at tiffany@bwgconnect.com, and I'll be sure to get to them. And we started here about 5 minutes after the hour. Rest assured, we're going to wrap up before the end of the hour, at least 5 to 10 minutes, to give you ample time to get to wherever you need to go next. So with that, let's rock and roll and start to talk about the future of sponsored ads, how Amazon Marketing Cloud Insights are transforming campaign strategies. The team at XMARS have been long-term friends, partners of the BWG communities. I'm going to kick it over to our panelists. If you can give introductions on yourself, that would be lovely. And then we will jump right into the content. Thank you all for joining today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and start first. So Tiffany, great to be on and be part of the BWG network. We're excited about the topic today, but real quickly, my name is Kashiv Zafar. I'm the CEO of XMars, a company that's really revolutionizing Amazon advertising as we're developing cutting edge platforms that really helps with AI and efficiencies. We're powered by advanced AI and AMC. We provide brands and sellers and agencies this tool to optimize their full funnel advertising. We work with a pretty diverse group of global clients and really focus on adoption. I think that's the name of the game, is really wanted to be relevant for brands and sellers and agencies. So really excited to talk about this topic that continues to be very popular around AMC, but very specifically around sponsored ads at AMC, which was really unique. And we'll talk more about that with after Unbox and Amazon's announcement, but great to be here today.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Hey everyone, my name is Matt. I'm also on the XMars team. I am the VP of Product and Customer Success. Joined the team about 2 years ago. And obviously for the past 2 years, we have been cooking up a lot of good features on AMC. We have been working on the AMC Hub, what we call internally XMars AMC Hub product since last year. And I think a lot of expertise goes into this product feature. I'm very happy to join the online session today and also be with the community here. And the purpose today is really to share our thoughts and how we think AMC is going to shape the future for sponsor ads. I think this is a really exciting time, especially when you have AMC for sponsor ads customers.
Awesome. Thank you both for the introductions. And again, questions, comments put into the chat or the Q&A as we move along, because we have a lot to get through. And I also want to do a plug for anybody in the New York City area. So you guys are hosting an Amazon Masterclass next Tuesday, November 19th from 9 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And that is at the Amazon office headquarters. May give more details on that for our New Yorkers that might be able to attend.
Happy to touch on it. Please feel free to DM myself or Matt. But yeah, next Tuesday at the Amazon's headquarters in New York City, we will be doing a masterclass and specifically pretty much expanding on this topic of AMC for sponsored ad sellers, that you really, talking about that, adoption about that, hands-on keyboards. We'll have a work session. So we're definitely excited to be definitely partnering with Amazon they'll host it. And then Matt, myself, and some of our team members will be there meeting with brands and sellers that are really wanting to have that interest and learn more. So definitely come join us. That will be in New York, Tuesday only of next week.
Awesome. Sounds good. So yes, let's talk about Unbox. So Unbox happened last month. Lots of big announcements. I guess, what have you guys been up to since Unbox, and the fact that AMC, it was announced, is open to everyone? When I heard that, I was like, oh my goodness. I remember when I was selling on Amazon and that was not an option. This is a really big deal. So let's start there and just say, what does that mean for brands and DSP versus sponsored ads, and who can do what?
I'll start, but I'm really excited today to have Matt, who is our head of product and customer success team. And so what's really exciting is Matt can go into more specifics of what that means ever since Unbox. But no, definitely, Tiffany, I think we are all excited about the announcement by Amazon. Historically, just taking a step back, in order to have insights in an instance of AMC, you really needed to be running DSP. And so really it was for those sellers that were investing more on the platform and really being able to invest both in sponsored ads and DSP. But with the adoption of AMC Insights becoming so critical, and I think Amazon seeing that as well, we're excited that they announced that you don't need to be running DSP. You can have access to AMC Insights and have it your own instance if you're even if you're doing just sponsored ads. So for us, Tiffany, what that's meant is a lot of conversations with our existing clients, a lot of new clients that are looking to now, hey, how do I make this something that I can take insights and take advantage of AMC right away? And so we've just had a lot of those conversations, and we've been really kind of developing, teeing up to really allow for our users to have that experience through our platform. And that's where Matt could kind of take it from here. I'll hand it off to you, Matt, to talk a little bit more about it. But I'll just say a lot of buzz, a lot of conversations, and a lot of really just being ready to help our brands and sellers to really take advantage of this announcement.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Kashiv. And obviously, we know this before Unbox announcements. We have been in the closed beta program with Amazon for the better part of the last year. The first half of this year. And initially, it was for sponsored display. You can create audience for sponsored display ads and target a specific AMC audience, and then expanded that to sponsored product and sponsored brand for the bid modifier. And that we know that that was a big launch during Unbox. And I guess also very importantly, for the first time, that without a DSP account, that you can have an AMC. There's no minimum spend requirement. Then you can open AMC account, they call AMC instance. I don't think there's an extra cost, or the cost should be very, very low. So it's pretty much it is AMC for everyone. And since Unboxed, we have been working really hard to ship the feature, and we're laser focused on sponsored ads in this scenario. I think it has a lot of implications for sponsored product, especially sponsored product. Now you can essentially target an audience by using the bid modifier, right? We think this is going to be a game changer for sponsored product, and we can talk about that in detail, what that means for our strategy going to the future. It sounds like a small change, but it's gonna change a lot of the targeting strategy, especially for sponsored products.
Yeah, let's talk about why it is important for a brand, a seller on Amazon, to have this opportunity. And again, questions, comments, put into the chat, the Q&A. If something is not clear, put it in there and we will clarify it, because this is a lot to ingest. Essentially, there's a lot of changes happening, but also a lot of opportunity. So what essentially then, I'm a brand on Amazon, and I can have different audiences and be able to measure them independently to see who best performs, and ROIs can be segmented versus having this like lump budget of marketing spend that I never really knew what my ROI was. Is that one of the big benefits?
Yeah, I think the sponsored ad space has been just getting more and more competitive over time. And this speaks true for CPC, speaks true for your conversion rate and your ROAS or ROI. And then everyone is using the same tactics, where we're all doing bidding changes, day parting, we're all doing placement adjustment, we're all doing keyword strategy, right? All of that, we're all on a level playing ground. Now with AMC, this new opportunity arises where now you can target specific audience, right? For the first time, that you can use sponsor ads to target audience. You cannot do that with sponsor ads in the past. You can only do that with DSP ads, which is what you usually call it upper funnel strategy, right? Only when you get to a certain size you do DSP for. But for most sponsor ads customer, this is for the first time you can target specific audiences. So that means, which means that if you are not leveraging it today, you're missing out an opportunity. This is basically the way I see it. I think for brands and sellers, and then today, using AMC is nothing as easy as if you're just using the regular sponsor ads, right? You have to learn to write SQL code. You have to learn to understand the data structure under AMC data schema. And all of those are going to require either you have a technical team members, or you yourself learn to start using SQL. So it's not easy, but of course, XMarts built that solution. It's a drag and drop solution, but at the end of the day, I think there's a barrier of entry. So that's why I think the opportunity is going to be even more, but it's even going to be even bigger because of not everyone's going to be able to leverage that. Think about this as a way that you can potentially increase your conversion rate by targeting very specific audience, because these audience going to convert the best, right? With that, you might be able to lower your CPC over the long run, and then your ROAS will increase over time. And then of course, everyone spends a lot on sponsor ads. So that I think that's why, essentially.
And I would assume too, if you have product that is seasonality associated with it, I used to sell ceiling fans. So there was definitely a seasonality to that, but I never could get a clear picture of the customer journey, which actually ended up, we figured out, was like a 6-month journey, because by the time you measure the room and you bring in the electrician and all of that. So I would assume this is the opportunity then to better understand the seasonality around your product and plan for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like for example, we have an LTV model, customer lifetime value model, where we'll look at by cohorts. Let's say, for example, the customer that made the purchase in January versus the customer made a purchase in July, right? Winter versus summer. How the LTV looks like over time, over the next 12 months, given these two cohorts of customers made the first purchase in different seasons. And with AMC data, you will be able to understand with that cohort how that customer behave over the next 12 months, and you can calculate the LTV. So this is kind of give you that long-term approach versus I'm only looking at the first purchase, right? Because everyone is only looking at the first purchase. Everyone is only looking at that transactional ROAS, because we don't have that data in the past, right? With AMC, now you can understand how customer behave over time, and then you have a better sense of, okay, this is the long-term value of this is the long-term ROAS versus the first transactional ROAS. Let's just give one example here to deal with seasonality.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and questions rolling in, keep them coming. Let's start from the top. So, how do you see the difference between using the AMC targeting on sponsored display versus DSP?
Very good question. We have been testing that since earlier this year. We see some mixed results. I want to be completely honest here. We see some campaigns succeeded with higher ROAS and some getting lower ROAS. And of course, this is before Unbox announcement. We were in the beta program, closed beta program with Amazon, and everyone's still trying to figure out. I think this is really over time. This is essentially giving you the tool that was only available in DSP, that now you can do that through sponsor display. You can target very specific audience, add to cart audience, brand search audience, repeat purchase audience, for example. Like for example, in your case, seasonality, the customer will only convert 6 months later or make another purchase 6 months later. You can set a specific timeline, right? The customer who made the first purchase in month 1, and you target them again in month 6. I mean, you can do all sort of things with AMC, defining specific audiences. So result-wise, it's mixed results, but I think it's because it's early days. We were doing beta testing. I think as more sellers and advertisers start to test this, I think there are going to be some really good results coming out of this.
Awesome. Another great question here. Where would you suggest a seller start when learning how to navigate AMC?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we should focus on actionable insights, right? Because there's so much stuff. Like if you see the AMC console, the data schema, I think has, I don't know, like definitely dozens of tables and hundreds of data fields. It very easily can get lost there. And then the way you interpret data, AMC data, is going to be also very different. So I think if we were just getting started at AMC, let's focus on the most basic ones, which is add to cart audiences, branded search audiences. Just to give a few examples, right? Creating those audiences has very high propensity of making the purchase next time, and then basically targeting them either with sponsor ads, sponsor product ads, adding the bid multiplier, or with sponsor brand or sponsor display. So I would think the audience is probably the first thing you will want to pick up before diving really deep into the data.
Baby steps.
Yeah.
Understood. And to clarify here, are there qualifications to use AMC other than using DSP? Do you need a third party to quote unquote plug into it?
Right. So there is no qualifications to use AMC. You can open an AMC instance. If you work with us, of course, we'll make it extremely easy for you. It's all self-service. I actually don't know if you can do that today on the native console, if you can just one click and turn on an instance, but you can do that with us. But there's no minimum ad spend. There's no any requirement from the Amazon side because they made it very clear this is for everyone.
Excited. Can you go over the AMC insights? And well, let's first look at the advertising report. So I remember using like the standard advertising reports. And what are the key benefits of using AMC over those standard advertising reports that we've had?
Yeah, I'll give you one example. So let's say, for example, in the search term analysis report under the Amazon standard report, right? There's a search term report under Amazon Brand Analytics. In that report, you will be able to see all the search terms that the shoppers clicked on and you got charged for, right? So this is all search terms that customers clicked on. However, you're never going to be able to see without AMC, right? Without AMC, you're never going to be able to see what customer actually searched because you don't get charged for what people search. You only get charged for what people click on. And with AMC, because we were able to get the data from Amazon to see exactly what keywords customers are searching for, not just clicking on, but also searching for, and also see that whole conversion journey when they search for it and then click on it and then view our product detail page and add to cart and finally made the purchase. All of that data points are available at per customer level. And of course, there's aggregation on all that mechanism in there. But imagine you have all that piece of data to now, for the first time, you will be able to see what people search for instead of just what people click on. And with that data, and we can maybe do a screen share later just to show you, you'll be able to see the search terms that people click on, and also the search terms that people search when they click on certain keywords. Essentially, you'll be able to find potentially some golden nuggets that folks have been searched for, but have not clicked on yet. Just one example, this is broader data, it's a broader scope of data, and more granular data, and mostly on customer behavior.
I'll just, Tiffany, really quickly add, just taking a step back, and I think that's a great point, Matt. And I'm letting Matt just fire away. He's doing a great job. He's our head of product, so it makes sense for him to kind of capture these questions. But I will say, like, I can't overstate how important the comprehensive view of the customer interactions across the different ad types and touch points is with AMC. That's so much different than the standard Amazon reports, which are often just so basic, right? Basic performance metrics for sponsored ads. Whereas now with AMC, we can look at custom queries, we can analyze that, really enabling the sellers to examine the entire customer journey. And the other thing is, and I think this is a key advantage of AMC, is compared to standard reports that are provided, is the ability to measure that incrementality and then really to conduct more of that cross-channel analysis. So standard reports are, again, typically focused on direct performance metrics, but AMC really allows sellers to evaluate like the true lift generated by their ad sales, and then showing how campaigns contribute to the brand growth and conversions beyond just those organic trends. So I think that's really important to remember. It's that, with AMC, you'll constantly be reminded that it gives you more of the comprehensive view and it gives you more insights, so you could be more hyper-focused on what you want to do. And I don't think that could be stated enough when it comes to AMC versus just what's been there in the past.
Right, and I think it's like the gift that keeps giving, because you could then update your product detail page based on maybe those terms that that data that you're retrieving now and how your customer is shopping. You can acclimate to that with your product detail pages being updated.
That's right. And I think that's part of it, right? AMC's, think of it as a connection. It's pulling your Amazon advertising data, it's pulling your retail data. And so it's really this connection bridge that allows you to exactly do that look at what are those metrics and what is the data saying on the retail side? What is it saying on the advertising side? Do we go back and update our detail pages? Do we have, are we winning the buy box? That whole, like, it's more sophistication when it comes to now thinking through your business on Amazon and what those strategies need to be. So yeah, it brings a lot of value just from even a bridge between like the whole ecosystem on Amazon.
Absolutely. Questions, comments, keep them coming into the chat or the Q&A. The other big announcement is first-party data. So a brand can use AMC to upload their own 1P data to get a better view of their customer journey, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And then you can do that with, essentially, if you have, for example, running for a D2C business, right? You have your either Shopify or whatever website that you're complete the conversion journey of Amazon, and then you are able to collect the email addresses of your customer, and then you will be able to upload that email addresses, and of course have to hash them, and upload that to the AMC data clean room. Of course, this is the AMC data clean room is a privacy-proof environment, but definitely there's some data handling that you need to take care of with the hashing mechanism. But once you upload, what Amazon does is it will try to match all the email address to the email address within Amazon, and then figuring out kind of the overlap between your first-party audience data with Amazon's audience data. And with that data, you can do a couple of things. First, you can do a lookalike. You can, for example, expand the audience to a bigger audience group based on the different labels, whether those audience are sharing similar demographic information, sharing similar in-market or lifestyle labels. And then you expand that labels into a bigger audience size, and you can target that audience and see whether that would give you better results. That's one way to do it. And another way to think about this is you can expand into audiences that you don't know or you had not known in the past, right? This is, again, if you are a top seller in a specific category and you kind of saturated your audience already with either sponsor ads or even DSP ad, now you need to expand into new audiences. So upload your first party data might give us kind of additional data points, basically, and then figure out, okay, so this is another additional group of audience that might also be your potential target you have never thought about in the past, right? There's some interesting connection you can make by looking at audiences that you have outside of Amazon and connect that within Amazon and find new audience labels. And we have some case study actually published in the past talking about how to find new audiences you have never thought about in the past.
Exciting stuff. Like, again, big changes and definitely something to consider. So going into 2025, still can't believe that we're almost there. And looking at everybody, you know, has their roadmap, their plan. How does this change, this AMC? How is that going to impact, let's say, a brand sponsored ad strategy for the new year?
Yeah. I can only think about a few things for now, because again, this is very new, and then we build a tool so that everyone can play around. It's very flexible, but maybe a few things. I think we'll start from sponsored product ads. I think this is where most folks are, you know, focusing on, paying most attention to. Is think about sponsored product used to be only bidding based. Right now, it's also kind of almost like audience based, and then going into the holiday shopping season, and then let's say it gets very competitive, right, in the next month or so. And with that, I think the immediate thing to do, and of course the strategy going into maybe also into next year, is find the audience that's gonna work the best for you. Of course, you will need to AMC to understand the audience first, and then you also need AMC to create that audience for your sponsor ad strategy. And think about, for example, do you want to emphasize on new to brand customers, for example, right? Do you want to emphasize on existing customers, for example? Do you want to build customer loyalty starting next year, or maybe building on customers that you're going to acquire in the next month in a holiday shopping season, and then whether their LTV is going to be higher than the customer you acquired in the regular month, and then again using custom AMC audience to retarget those customers, almost like retargeting, but targeting those customers using bid multipliers. So those are the things I would think about going into the holiday shopping season, as well as next year. Your new to brand customers, your existing repeat customers, as well as customers with different LTVs, and the retargeting strategy with custom AMC audience.
Could a good tester to get acclimated with AMC is use January? Because January is always that, like, oh, there's the gift card redemption period. You know, that was always like a nice lift for us as a brand, is to get those gift card sales and to be able to better understand that customer to retarget them in the future.
Yeah, you can retarget customers, but I don't know if we can know if that customer is coming from a credit card. I don't think the Amazon AMC has that capability today, but you can target, for example, baby registry, wedding registry, Among a bunch of other be subscribe and save. The customer, for example, have shopped in baby registry, wedding registry, or subscribe and save. They can really target those customers. Those are what we consider as conversion events. It's not just add to cart, it's not just product detail page. There are 10 different conversion events. You can specify which and which, and then you can target. You can basically create an audience group based on those conversion events. But I don't think gift card is one of those, but we can double check. But there are 10 different conversion events you can target. Yeah.
It's just a super interesting point because we never knew who that customer really was. They redeemed it, they got it, and to better understand them. But still, everything's moving in the right direction to better understand that customer journey, and it's a beautiful thing. Questions, comments, put into the chat or the Q&A as we move along. So outside of the Amazon platform, how can a brand leverage AMC Intel holistically, like look at their whole ecosystem online? Who are the brands that are doing it right?
I think I want to go back maybe to Kashif's point. I think if you want to understand your ads performance holistically, especially across sponsored products, sponsored brand, and sponsored display, and potentially even STV down the line. Actually, I'm very curious to know if anyone in the audience is now investing in STV. But for SPBD, overlap analysis is the one to go. Because a lot of folks are, we get asked these questions a lot, which is whether my SD investment worth it, right? Or my sponsored brand ads worth it, because I might see lower ROAS comparing to the sponsored product ads. But with AMC, you will be able to see customers who have converted by, for example, let's say first outreached by a sponsored brand ads, and then a sponsored product ads, and then converted. You can compare the two groups, right? The customer who are only touched by sponsored product versus the customer who are touched by both sponsored brand and sponsored product, how the ROAS is different, right? Because we're always looking at things in silo, not because we want to, but because of the report on Amazon is limited. You can only look at the ROAS at per ads level, but now for the first time, you can actually compare the customer journey and see the ROAS difference between different overlaps of different ads. I think that's kind of what I think is a holistic approach, right? Because this way you might have a better idea how much budget I should allocate to sponsored brand or sponsored display versus the conventional wisdom, which is, I don't know, like 7-1 or whatever that number should be. But this is all scientific. Now you have the data to decide which way you should allocate more, which one should allocate less.
Absolutely. And if anybody has examples, feel free to share. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, Tiffany, sorry, just really quickly, if I could just jump in. I think you asked a really good question right before this that I did want to comment on, because I think it's a question we've been hearing a lot. And the question about like, when's a good time to start or test it as a newcomer on AMC? And you asked a question about January. So actually, I just wanted to comment on that. I think January is actually a great option, especially for those that are new to AMC. And I think if you think about it, like this is the month that typically follows our busy holiday season. Everyone's really kind of in that stage of evaluating post-holiday performance and customer behavior trends. And, that could be a very valuable time for us to really like test and learn in the early part of the year. Now that it's past Prime Day and Black Friday, and now it's a quieter period overall in terms of overall competition. So I think it is actually, if you're new to AMC, it's a great time to test. It's a little bit quieter. It's not during your peak seasons. It maybe even some of the seasonality seasons of back to school, Q2, Prime Day coming up. So, and it really allows you to then test in those early months of the year and get a clean baseline data for sponsored ads. And then you could potentially even build up on your understanding of how these campaigns will perform over the next few months. So I look at it as a great opportunity, as almost like a sandbox. If you definitely in the test and learn kind of methodology to do so in January, I think is a great idea. I think the advice that we have, and we often tell our clients and prospects, is get your AMC instance set up before the end of the year. So, it takes a minute to get connected. Sometimes, just getting the instances connected and making sure the data is being pulled. than for you to be able to actually do some testing when the start of the year. So I just wanted to kind of go back to that because it is something that we've been hearing more and more in terms of questions from people generally around the new to AMC and when to start.
Yeah, it's great to have it all set up for, say, this year, get it ready to roll, and then the new year. I just felt like there's less noise and more breathing
Yeah,
room, like you said, when it
exactly.
comes to post holidays, and you can do some decent testing and have a path for the rest of the year. So very cool. Questions, comments, put them in. What about if we go back to securing the data within AMC? How does AMC handle data privacy? Just want to reiterate that because I know that's very top of mind for a lot of brands.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So first of all, AMC, like a lot of the other data clean rooms out there, is what they call a privacy-proof data environment. It sounds very scary because it has all the data, right? All the customer data are in there, like your demographic information, your shopping behavior, all the data are in that one place. And of course, none of these data clean rooms going to give you individual customer data because that'll be a violation of privacy. And data clean room is actually created, and you can Google this, is created because of privacy concerns. In the past, you can actually download all these data. Like it was very scary, but that was a long time ago. But and then Google had their data clean room, and of course Meta and Amazon, and of course some of the other DSP platforms all have this data clean room environment. So the data clean room is created to solve that problem, the data privacy issue. And in terms of how it actually works, to simplify it, none of the either brands or agency partners or whoever or tech solution providers like us will be able to pull individual customer data out of AMC whatsoever. And the reason is due to they have a mechanism called aggregation thresholds, meaning that for any data you're pulling out of AMC, it has to be at least 100 customer a minimum aggregation threshold. So if there are customers behave differently, but when we group them into a cohort of less than 100 customer, that data is not going to be available. You cannot actually pull that data out from AMC. I don't know if you guys are familiar with some of the other platforms other for Dun & Bradstreet, right? They have a minimum aggregation threshold of 50 small businesses, right? It's kind of a very common database kind of practice where it just won't let you to, in technical terms, you cannot join tables, you cannot left join or concatenate tables if the audience size is less than 100. So that's the way that Amazon put into place to ensure that no individual customer data are leaked. And of course, you won't be able to see the email address or anything like that. These are all hashed, right? It's just a user ID. It's an ID that is pretty much meaningless.
Yeah, awesome. Good questions here. Keep them coming. I think, Matt, let's take some time to actually do a demo because I know anything with Amazon, the visual learning, it's always very helpful to see it firsthand. And again, as you have any questions, put them into the chat as you see the demo here.
Sure. Let me share my screen. So Tiffany, do you think the audience here will also be interesting to just take a glance at what AMC actually looks like in the native console?
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah. All right.
I'm
So
personally interested.
sure.
Anybody else opposes, let me know. But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's compare. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I am in a sandbox environment. So this is the Amazon ads. So this is the Amazon ads under measurement reporting. This is your ads console, right? And then there, if you have turned on your AMC instance, there will be Amazon Marketing Cloud, right? If I click on here, it will show up like this, right? Right off the bat, you have a couple of tabs, right? These are essentially the AMC console, right? There are many, many different information documentation around how to use it. But the primary user interface with AMC is this query editor. You see, if some of the folks here are familiar with SQL language, here's a typical SQL query that you would have to write to pull data. On the left-hand side is the data schema. So you have many, many different tables. And of course, under each table, we have many, many different data fields. Yeah. So you probably already noticed that this is, it's not really intended for the non-technical folks. That's why, and then this is still today for the folks who One, getting to Amazon Marketing Cloud, you have to understand not just SQL code. I think that actually is the easier part. You also have to understand all the data structure here. How would you join those tables? So this is, I think, again, this is it's gonna cost some time to pick this up, right? And of course, we build onto that. So this is XMars, the platform that we have what we call AMC Hub. We have a model gallery here that shows you here that 10 pre-built models. And I'll probably just go through some of them very quickly here. And these pre-built models are essentially pre-built, and we have write all the SQL queries, and then you don't have to see the SQL queries to play around with it because it's not the intention. And then it's what we call a drag and drop no code user interface. For example, let's take customer lifetime value as an example, right? This is, you probably never see this before on our Amazon regular report because there's no lifetime value report there yet. But here with the XMars AMC Hub, you will be able to see in this case, where I'm just looking at using a demo account, you'll be able to see each cohort, like my March 2023 cohort, April 2023 cohort. What's the customer acquisition cost? What is my LTV over time? And what is my repeat purchase rate, RPR, looks like? And also what is my total sales looks like by each month, right? And you can look at that cumulatively, non-cumulatively, and you of course can also see the ROAS, right? In each individual month. So you can play around with this data with much easier, and then we give you that data right off the bat, right? And then I think this is kind of I think a very intuitive way of engaging data within AMC, because everything here is drag and drop. Right? There's no SQL involved, right? What kind of differentiate us, I guess, from some of the other solutions out there is that this can be extremely customizable. Let's take again LTV as an example, right? Right now, I'm looking at the LTV for all of my customers, which is in this case, almost 500,000 customers I have acquired in the last year. Again, this is like a demo data, right? For basically between March 2023 and February 2024, right? And for those customers who have made the purchase of any ASINs within my store, I counted them as a customer and counted them and also calculated their LTVs. And now the question is, what if I just want to see customers who have made purchases to one of my ASINs, and what is their LTV? Right? With that question, you can go into compose model query here. You can actually define, in this case, you can type in the ASINs that you want to see, right? I only want to look at customer lifetime value for customer who have made a purchase of these ASINs and what that looks like going forward, right? You can also define, for example, in here, you probably see that I only want to see customer who are all reached by, either DSP ads, or if you don't have DSP, sponsor product, sponsor brand, sponsor display. You can even pick individual campaigns here. Of course, I have all the demo campaigns here, but you can pick individual campaigns. So let's say, for example, I can create an audience group who have been all reached by these two SP campaigns and these SD campaigns. And then I can create another model. I'm going to pick the same two SP campaigns and pick another different SD campaign, and just comparing the lifetime value differences between these two audiences, right? If you have a large audiences and then they are being touched by different ads, but there must be some differences between how those customers behave over time, especially talking about LTV over time, right? For example, the question I have might be, is there a LTV difference between customers who have been outreached by sponsored brand ads versus have never been reached out by sponsored brand ads? Essentially answering the question about, is there incrementality on LTV for sponsored brand ads, right? So there are just so many ways to play around with this. You can create this model, save it, and this will become part of the model, your AMC models here. And then you can build as many models as you want, and then you can update them look at the data. Think of this, each model you created here is like a query you submitted here. Instead of you having to write all the SQL code, you just drag and drop and then set it up, and then it will run for you automatically.
I definitely prefer this view. This is much prettier. Doesn't make my brain hurt as much.
Right. Yeah.
That is, and the SKU economics, that's phenomenal to be able to drill into the SKU level.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Very cool. Questions and comments, please put them into the chat as we wrap up here. That is fascinating to me that you can go to the SKU level, the audience. I mean, you can really slice and dice it however you need to. What is the look back window? Is it 12 months?
It's 12, to be exact, 390 days, so 13 months. And this is as much as we can get. This is again defined by Amazon, right? They don't give anyone more than 13 months of data. But I think that's a good enough look back window. You can do year-over-year comparisons. You can look at how customers behave last year, for example, during Turkey 5, right, versus this year. So you can do that, a look back, and then try to predict how they're going to behave. And then you can actually, so just because answering some of the question that we had in the past, looking at ads holistically, right? Like, for example, how should I allocate my budget across sponsor brands, sponsor products, sponsor display, right? And so the Amazon standard attribution is using last touch attribution, but we allow you to run Markov chain, Shapley value, those two machine learning based attribution algorithm. You can also do first touch, last touch, linear, time decay, position based, right? All these rule based attribution methods. And then with that, you'll be able to see, okay, so if I were to allocate a little more budget in this case, well, let's just get rid of DSP for now. If I were to able to allocate a little bit more budget to SB, how my forecasted sales is going to look like if I were to run a Markov chain on top of my historical data, right? And then you can also define, again, for every model that we have, you can define, you can pick individual ads, right? You can not only compare how should I allocate budget between SP, SB, and then SD. You can also decide how should I allocate ads between SP, let's call it long tail keywords, versus let's create another group, let's call as SB videos, right? You can do it however many ways you want, but you just go inside and pick individual ads and then run Markov chain, run Shapley value, and see how I should allocate budget across them, right? Similarly, you can even define your look back window to your question earlier, whether should that be impression based or click based. Basically, you can customize your attribution model however the way you want it, and then look at this very scientifically how I should allocate budget.
Very cool. Question here to confirm, can we easily see LTV by first purchase ASIN in the platform?
Yeah, very, very easily. You can do that just by going here and enter the ASIN that you want to see. And then we'll be able to see for each month, the first purchase of that ASIN, and see, first of all, how many customers are there. So purchase UV, unique visitors of that ASIN. Let's say if I have already entered the ASIN here, right? I have 37,000 customers who have made the purchase of that ASIN in March. And then they subsequently made additional purchases in the following month, and how that looks like over time.
Excellent. Very cool. Appreciate the time, Matt Kashif. Like, this is phenomenal. I'm like, oh, if I would have had this years ago, I can't even imagine. I always say, like, I'd have less gray hair, that's for sure. So we definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time, the intel today. And we definitely encourage follow-up conversation with the XMARS team. Obviously, they are fantastic at what they do. They are great friends of our community, and we'll be doing follow-up post-events. So we would love to hear from you too. That's how we get the content ideas for our future events. So feel free to send me an email at tiffany@bwgconnect.com and we can connect. With that, it's a wrap. Happy Thursday, everyone. Take care, guys. Nice to see you.
Thanks so much, Tiffany.
Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.